Winchester Mansion. What is it about this supposedly haunted house the internet finds so deeply creepy? What if the house was never actually haunted by angry ghosts, but grew into a spectral gateway because it was inadvertently constructed as a labyrinth? The most haunted house in the world was purchased by Sarah Winchester in 1885 when it was a simple San Jose farmhouse. Shortly before, in 1881, Sarah's husband, American rifle magnate William Wirt Winchester, died of tuberculosis. She fled the East Coast, but was she on the run from vengeful poltergeists? According to most commonly discussed legends, her husband provoked the ire of angry ghosts sent to the grave by his guns. In reality, guns were largely seen as a useful tool that had helped win the Civil War. Sarah was not running away, but rather toward opportunity. She had suddenly become a millionaire 20 times over. She did what any 46-year-old woman with a limitless wallet and a new home would do: renovate. In her zealousness to expand, Sarah designed the unconventional plans herself, despite lacking any professional training. Intricate woodwork and ornate decoration filled the home, which stretched into hallway after hallway, staircase after staircase, peaking in a room count of 500. In a letter to her sister-in-law in 1898, she wrote, "I am constantly having to make an upheaval for some reason. For instance, my upper hall, which leads to the sleeping apartment, was rendered so unexpectedly dark by a little addition that after a number of people had missed their footing on the stairs, I decided that safety demanded something to be done." Dead ends of abandoned expansions, still left up continuously, added to the maze as new expansions were added on. The architectural pioneer grew the house without thought for sense in the layout, and eventually the home could only be described as a behemoth maze. Is it possible that the place becoming a dizzying maze is what made it an alluring attraction for paranormal forces? While Sarah was not a recluse, her preferred quiet life was far different from the other Bay Area millionaires frequently seen at society parties and events. This led to gossip from locals, culminating in an article from the San Francisco Chronicle on February 24th, 1895. It reported, quote, "The sound of the hammer is never hushed. The reason for it is in Mrs. Winchester's belief that when the house is entirely finished, she will die." Almost all ghostly rumors can be linked back to the San Francisco Chronicle's long-spun yarn about the eccentric widow. These talks about town eventually grew into the frightening stories about Winchester Mansion that we still discuss to this day. Fabricated rumors, like the existence of a seance room within the house, were far easier to give cause to Sarah's air of mystery. The notion that Sarah was consciously creating the labyrinth in order to confuse ghosts was another tall tale in the life of the especially non-superstitious millionaire. The mansion was reshaped massively by an earthquake in 1906, that downsized the house substantially, while increasing its labyrinthine qualities of hallways and stairs to nowhere, roomless doors, and unreachable levels. Modern-day visits to such a large place will certainly result in cold drafts and eerie noises, and paranormal activity captured there is largely speculative amongst serious ghost hunters. For those that insist the Winchester Mansion is an otherworldly home, it can be said that labyrinths create a well of transcendental energy. Are spiritual mazes easy for specters to treat as gateways into our world? Sarah may not have been trying to create a psychically powerful maze on purpose, but did she do so unintentionally? The traditional labyrinth is a meandering path, typically on one flat plane, leading to the center of a great circle. Their known existence in human use dates back over 4,000 years. Meant to evoke spiritual pilgrimage and mindfulness, they are a prime example of sacred geometry. Pagan rituals have long used labyrinths as gateways to supernatural realms. It is thought that wandering through one can lead to an altered state of consciousness that allows walkers to glimpse into a reality vibrating at a higher frequency. Interactions with higher frequency beings could easily be a different name for ghostly encounters. Angels, demons, and apparitions are simply human words for what we do not understand, but there are symbols that carry meaning across time and space that spark imagination of the possible in our unconscious. As defined by Robert Ferrer, sacred geometry is the act of studying the divine act of creation and then using that knowledge to create in the same way. By studying nature, we find that the basic building blocks of creation are geometric. Since a divine hand is responsible for originating the numbers and proportions of the manifest universe, that geometry is sacred. Studying sacred geometry leads us to truth and self-understanding. All societies use sacred geometry to construct their temples, sacred places, and art. They are the actual essence of everything that exists. If sacred geometry is a connective force echoed in all energies, is Sarah's house an example of sacred geometry or a perversion of it? Sarah's indifference toward the occult resulted in ignorance as to why her designs were so strange. It is so much easier to believe this massive home-turned puzzle box is the breeding place of a creeping, otherworldly entity than just a spooky mansion. It is true, we can chalk up the haunting experiences to eagerness from visitors to be a part of the American ghost zeitgeist. Yes, it is a large, creaky, drafty house that will make strange noises and gusts of wind. But within the corners and stairwells of this puzzling house, only visitors that have actually stepped inside can describe the energy as feeling different. Just outside of one's periphery vision, some strange specter, a vibration from another dimension without shape, could linger. While spirits drawn in by the patterns of the Winchester house may not mean visitors any harm, It certainly is creepy to imagine that from the depths of the labyrinth, an unseen force could be watching.